He spent a lot of time. He was very patient. I know he was patient with people like Victor V, with Benila, because he saw the value. Here were young people who had the potential, and he invested his time in them. So in the process of writing those books, rewriting these books, now let's take Dhammapada for example. I read it 16 times, looking for faults, expanding.
How long did that take, just for that publication?
A couple of years, maybe 2 years, I think about 2 years, you see. So we are all learning from the same factory. My basic core Buddhism, my attitude to Buddhism, my style of presenting Buddhism, all goes to Chief.
Did it lead you to explore other literature?
Oh yeah, because the interest started growing. And so I started reading whatever I could lay my hands on. People were calling me more and more often to give talks, especially at universities, which meant I needed info. So the more I read, the more it enriched me, but whatever I read, whatever I wrote, without fail I'd go back to Chief to get it approved. It was until very late that I was sort of weaned from Chief and did things on my own.
At which point did you not actually have to rehearse in front of Chief?
I used to keep going to him. I'll tell you why. Because interfaith was coming into the picture. And I cannot afford to misrepresent Buddhism. Every point would be rehearsed with Chief. Then when I go out and talk, I know nobody can point a finger at me because it was approved by the Master himself.
What were some of the highlights? What were some of the challenges that you encountered as a Dhammadūta?
I have a feeling that because Chief was behind me all the time, a lot of the rough edges was made smooth. Well, if there was problems, it would have been the time constraint. As a lay person, bringing up a family, juggling a career, at that time I was also very much involved in the theatre scene in Kuala Lumpur, either as a director or an actor or whatever. On the other hand, coming home and servicing the family, and then working in ITM as a lecturer. So it took a lot of sacrifice and getting the priorities right. That was more my challenge. Because I wasn't a professional, I wasn't a monk, and I was sharing the Dhamma, working with Chief and learning a huge amount from him. Plus Chief, of course, was so much 21st century. He could cut through all kinds of superstition. He always knew that his purpose was not to present Theravada Sinhalese Buddhism, but Buddhism as the Buddha taught it. That was Chief's greatest claim to fame. That is why he was able to inspire the Chinese. He was always concerned with the Buddha's teaching, the original words.
So you mentioned something that I think many people will be able to appreciate, which is trying to juggle your devotion to the Dhamma at the same time trying to grow professionally. I believe at that time you had a young family.
Very young, yeah. My eldest was born in 1969. By that time I was already into Buddhism. I was already giving talks. I had just come back, got a job in ITM. We had 3 kids, a girl, a boy and a girl. Handling them, getting them involved with the temple. My wife, being a Buddhist herself, was very helpful. She understood what it meant. She took part of the burden of bringing up a Buddhist family.
So that helped.
Helped a lot.
You didn't have to make tough choices about
No, I didn't have to, because her father had been like that too in Singapore.
How did learning the Dhamma actually help you deal with the challenges of a professional life?
The one word that comes to mind is anicca. I always knew it will pass. Yeah, no matter how big, how difficult, it won't be there forever. All right? There's always Chief I could go to. He gives advice, or his presence, his understanding was very helpful.
So he was like a counselor as well?
More like a father figure. In fact, I remember when I went to Australia, just before we left, my wife told Chief, "You were the father he never had." I told you I lost my father when I was 12. So, how did I overcome problems? One, my own understanding of Buddhism, it will pass, and anicca, no ego. Although I look like I got a huge ego, I never expect reward. I never expect it to be better anyway. I had a tough childhood. How can things get worse? That kind of attitude towards life. And then on the other side, there was Chief to give me the moral support and understanding and recognition.
An example of where you encountered problems or struggles in your professional life, what kind of advice he actually gave you?
The greatness of Chief again. In the 70s, during the Ramadan month, they had a Quran reading competition. They had a huge show on one aspect of Islam. And for 5 years, I did that show involving 200 students at ITM.
That's like a national event, right?
International event. Here I'm doing this and I'm getting all worried. And then he says, what you are doing, does it encourage people to do bad? No. Does it encourage people to do good? Does it make them more religious? Yes. Then what's your problem? Forget the religion, concentrate on the goodness that is engendered.
What do you think are the qualities of an effective Dhamma speaker?
Very knowledgeable. And there's no end to the knowledge that he can gain, not only about Buddhism, but all aspects of knowledge. And every aspect of knowledge is somehow connected to Buddhism, because Buddhism is the Dharma. Of course, today's people have it very easy. We had to go through huge libraries and read an entire book to get one gem. Of course, we could go back to Chief. Chief was the easiest. Today, it's very easy. You just Google it and the answer is there.
But on the other hand, there's this danger. How authentic or how genuine?
Absolutely. That is why we keep saying, go back to the Nikayas.